Hi, it's Jeff Schofield. I'm out in the Leicestershire rural countryside today with Pinnacle Platforms. Now, Pinnacle Platforms have built a reputation for being easy to do business with, and we'll talk more about that later. But it's important in the supply chain that their partners are also easy to do business with. So today we're going to talk trailers, and we're interested to find out more about the role that trailers play in the rental market and indeed have played. So to help us with this discussion, we're joined by Brian James Trailers and their business development manager, Jim Cherry. Good to see you, Jim. How are you?
Really good.
Listen, Jim, it'd be great to understand initially just a little bit more about Brian James Trailers. Tell us about your business.
Well, Brian James Trailers was founded by Brian James back in the late 70s. And since that time, the business has evolved massively. Now it's managed by the third generation, which is Lewis James, who's the CEO of the company. We do a massive range of trailers coming from the plant trailers like you see behind us here, and also flatbeds, tippers, but also we specialise in car transport trailers, which have been in the market for a very long time.
And from your market point of view, the plant hire, access hire business, what sort of percentage of your market are trailers sold into?
Well, certainly commercial trailers are 2/3 of the trailers we produce, and I'd say that the plant hire and access market would be another quarter of that market there. So it's very significant to us.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the trailer that we've got here. What are we looking at here?
So this is a digger plant trailer. This is a 3.2 metre by 1.7 metre wide bed. So it's one of our most commonly sold trailers, suitable for a large amount of different plant. And in this instance, we'll be loading later, two scissor lifts onto here, or we can take one large scissor lift on this trailer.
Great. Well, that was a little bit there about Brian James, and as Jim has just said there, we'll see this being loaded a little bit later in the video. So Jim, trailers have been around for decades. So if we look back and think about what a trailer looked like in the 1970s versus what it looks like today, what would we see?
So certainly with Brian James, trailers have evolved over the decades, and very much what you see here is a trailer that has been very well engineered out of bending steel to give it maximum strength. We use a very good punch system to do an upward punch to give grip on the runways and also the tail panel, but also it gives a lashing point within the deck itself. Other evolutions have been the rubber torsion suspension that we use, which we partner with Alco on. It's a very low maintenance way of doing a suspension, but also gives a phenomenal smooth ride, no rattling coming from the suspension units themselves. And now we put LED lights across all of our range, which has evolved over the last couple of years.
And where do you see the evolution of trailers going? I mean, if that's what's happened in the last 20 years, what might we see, if you will, over the next decade or so?
Well, it's a difficult one to answer because the tow vehicles are evolving so much at the moment, and it really depends on where we end up with the tow vehicles. I mean, the whole electric thing is going on right now. Will they need a boost? Will they need drive from the trailer? But more likely, with the hydrogen combustion engines coming through and the hydrogen fuel cells, we might see good power plants and maintaining trailers as we see now.
So the actual manufacture of trailers may need to change dependent upon the fuel source of the vehicle that's towing it.
Yeah, over the prominence, but I'd imagine we're looking pretty much as we are now, and we're all the time trying to evolve those trailers, make them light but very strong and with the highest load capacity that we can.
And what about the model of trailer ownership? You know, we buy the trailer. What's the sort of cost ownership period, and what do sort of residuals look like on average at the end when it's time to trade in or move on?
Well, residuals on the Brian James trailers is incredibly good, and so when you look at lifetime running costs, they're not very high compared to the amount of work that our trailers do. We use a phrase used by professionals, and we commonly see our trailers doing incredibly high mileage. In fact, some of our car trailers are doing well over 10,000 miles a month.
So we talked about the ownership model there of trailers, but I'm just interested to know a little bit more about the legislation. So, you know, if I've owned trailers over the last few decades, or I've just bought my first trailer last week, what legislation today have I got to be aware of and compliant with?
Okay, well, first of all, during the pandemic, there was a thing called the B&E license, where younger drivers need to take a test to tow a trailer. That's now been scrapped, so it means that anyone with a car licence can now tow up to a 3.5 tonne trailer, which opens the market up significantly for the younger workforce. Beyond that, there is legislation surrounding trailers' use of commercial use, but the best way to look into that is to go onto the .gov website and look at the different aspects within the use of trailers for commercial towing. But also the maximum that we can manufacture to is 3.5 tonne with mechanical overrun brakes. Go beyond that, you're looking at air brakes, you're looking more like a lorry trailer. Well, the most important thing when you're new to towing is to get into some space and get some practice. So I'd recommend getting used to the feel of the trailer behind, the size of the trailer, and then maybe in an open space get some cones and practice reversing through them. The more confident you are with them, the more confident you're going to be on the road. I always say make sure you go beyond in a line to line yourself up if you're going to reverse. So go way beyond, make sure you're nice and straight, get yourself properly lined up before coming back. The challenge with reversing a trailer is making too large a movement, and then you'll start wiggling all over the place and compensating for going too far. So the straighter you are to start with, the better you're going to be at the end. Well, commonly trailers losing control of trailers because of the load position within that trailer. So making sure that there is sufficient nose weight on the trailer is transferring the weight onto the back axle of the tow vehicle, but also working at the correct speed, not making aggressive movement with the trailer. But it's really about securing and maintaining that load in the correct way on the trailer. No matter what the weather is, I always have the side lights on, so the vehicle and the trailer is always lit. But also it's thinking more like a lorry driver, thinking further ahead. You're carrying more weight, the trailer is going to push you to a certain extent when you're stopping. So it's looking ahead and predicting what's going to happen. So Harry, now we've got the scissor lift loaded, how are you going to go about securing it?
What I'm going to do, Jim, is I'll have 4 straps in total. I'll go from the hook point, one there, and I'll pull it to the back, and then I'll do the same opposite to the front hook point of the machine. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Ultimately, I'll have 2 straps pulling it back, 2 pulling it forwards from corner to corner, keeping it nice and secure.
Well, listen, thanks ever so much for your time today, Jim. It's been really a real pleasure to understand more about Brian James Trailers and how, in partnership with Pinnacle, we can both take advantage of that opportunity. So where can we see more of your products next?
Well, the next major show we're going to is Scotland in Edinburgh, which actually Pinnacle are also exhibiting at.
Well, a great opportunity, everybody, to see both Pinnacle and to see Brian James Trailers at Scotland in late April. Look up on the website for more information.